A new witness is also set to take to the stand in the Senzo Meyiwa murder trial this morning. Now, the court heard yesterday how police officer Mlungisi Mthethwa left the crime scene unattended. Now, Mthethwa told the court that he left after colleagues who were referred to themselves as a task team and told him that they were now taking over. But our reporter, eNCA's Moloko Moloto, joins us to discuss what we can expect today. Moloko, a very warm good morning to you, Malume. Now, let's talk about this new witness in just a moment. We'll do so, but perhaps also recapping on what happened in court yesterday. Quite an interesting, turn of events, according to Mlungisi Mthethwa, giving us, of course, that witness testimony on the stand.
That's very true, Tumelo. Mlungisi Patrick Mthethwa is a police sergeant, but at the time when Senzo Meyiwa was killed, he was a police constable. He, together with his colleague, one officer, Matebola, and two trainee officers, were the first police officers, all of them four, to arrive at the crime scene at the house of the Kumalos in Vosloorus. This was after they received a radio call informing them that there was a shootout at that particular house. Now, he told the court yesterday that when he arrived, he found one Mr. Themba Khumalo, who described himself as an uncle to Kelly Khumalo. At the time, already Senzo Meyiwa, who had been injured, had been taken to hospital, and all the other people who were in the house when he was shot had already left for the hospital. Now, he says that Mr. Themba Khumalo opened the door for the house for him and his colleague. They just took a look and then they decided to leave, and they asked Mr. Khumalo, he says, to lock the door and not allow anyone to enter into that particular house. And that was a point of contention. The defense lawyers really questioned why, as a police officer, Mr. Mthethwa and his colleagues would decide to leave the crime scene unattended and go to hospital. And we heard him saying that only when they returned, they noticed some of the things, including the blood spots on the floor, and also a crash, and also a head, but also 2 cans of alcohol. And that's when we heard the defense really questioning his decision. And he says, look, we had to leave because we were looking for the owner of the house, who was supposed to give us all the details. And we also heard, as the defense lawyers were trying to poke holes, and even reading out from the statements by some of the people who arrived at the scene, particularly the neighbors, one Sylvia Ngobeni, as well as her daughter Gugu, deposed 2 statements wherein the defense was trying to show that people entered into that house and tampered with the crime scene, tampered with the evidence. We heard from the statement by Ms. Sylvia Ngobeni, read out by Advocate Zandile Mshololo, that one Ms. Megi Piri, who is also a neighbor, entered into the house and apparently cleaned the house and also removed some of the cans of alcohol. When she was questioned why she was doing that, according to that statement that was read out in court, she was saying she did not want the police, when they arrived from hospital, to find those cans of alcohol and find out that those people who were in the house when Senzo was killed were drinking alcohol. But let's talk about the remarks of the presiding officer, Judge Ratamo Khwatleng, who made the remarks really questioning the officers when they arrived, because apparently there was one lady when the police arrived there with their marked car who told them that the people who shot Senzo Meyiwa fled the house towards the nearby recreation park. And the presiding officer then asked whether they went to look for those particular suspects at that particular recreation park. He responded, Officer Dlamini, that yes, we did, but we only beamed our lights. And he asked why they did not step out of the car to physically look for the suspects, because he believed that was a crime scene. And this was not the first time Judge Mokgotleng made those remarks that were seen to be critical of the work of the police. During the testimony of Tumelo Madala, a childhood friend of Senzo Meyiwa, who was in the house when the Bafana star got killed, we heard Judge Rata Mokgotleng questioning whether, after the Meyiwa was killed, whether the police came to take the clothes of the people who were nearby when the shot went off or the gun went off, because he believed that forensic people could be able to, make an analysis of those clothes. And when Mr. Madala said no, we heard him, the judge, saying that a competent police officer would have done so. But let's listen to him when he was making those remarks yesterday in court.
I'm concerned about the dimensions of the park, because I want to say to you, my view is, if you are conscientious enough to get out of the vehicle, you could have went into the heart of the park to see the dimensions, the possible escape routes, and you could even have called for backup, because that's a crime scene also. Is that not so, sir?
Ngifuna ukwazi ukuthi le park lena uma nibona ke kwakuyi park eholela kuphi nendawo ngoba uma kwakuwukuthi naniphumile emotweni nanizokwazi ukuthi nihambe kuleyo park nibone ukuthi iholela kuphi, noma naningabiza ne backup ngoba ke nayo ke manje kwakuseyi crime scene.
Akusi park engathi ifihlekile. Iyabonakala nje. Mawuqhamuka ngapho uqhamukela kuyo, noma ujikela ngemoto uqhamuka ngapha futhi uqhamukela kuyo. So indawo nje mhlawumbe ingakanyana nje park encane nje.
It's not a hidden park, my lord. If you appear on the one side, you just come straight to the park, even on the other side. Oh, it was just a small park, maybe this size, my lord.
But you didn't investigate it. Okay.
No.
Well, of course, we'll leave it there for now. Colleague, as soon as we do hear of court commencing, we'll be taking our viewers live inside court as the Senzo Meyiwa murder trial continues today. That's eNCA's Moloko Moloto for us this morning.